Hi, I'm Glenn Whipp with the Los Angeles Times. Joining me today from TBS's Full Frontal with Samantha Bee. Samantha Bee!
Hello!
Welcome.
Hi, I'm so excited. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you here.
Made it very cozy.
Thank you.
You provided me with a beverage to quench my parched throat.
You just flew in from New York today.
I did.
There were some technical difficulties, I guess, with the show last night.
We had a minor glitch in that it didn't air.
Yeah, just a small thing.
On the East Coast in our designated time slot, but it aired after Conan, and we've been trying to fix the problem day to day.
Yeah,
it did air.
It was great because anyone who asked on Twitter, it looked like the Full Frontal account was saying, "Oh, you can watch it now. Here's the full episode." You were very hands-on.
Very hands-on. We're trying to individually send the full episode to anyone who tweeted at us because we care and we want you to see the show, and that is the service that we provide. We're loving.
Yes.
We're a loving family.
Last week,
I think my whole staff is watching. So I'm going to say hi to them. Hi, guys. I hope you're not drinking already. It's possible.
On the East Coast, it'd be acceptable, right?
Yeah, it's wine time.
Yes. At the TV upfronts last week, big gathering of media, advertisers. You kind of put it out there and appeal. You'd like to sponsor the Republican National Convention.
I really would. It's something that we all we just got so tickled by the idea of just a giant, whatever the screen is. I don't know what type of screen it is, but just a giant screen hanging up there in the arena with my face peering down at all the activities that are going on down below.
You could use like the Centaur
I could use
version,
my laser eye, or we could just, we made our appeal at the television upfronts because all of the ad buyers were there. So we were like, listen, if it makes it simpler, we can attach ourselves to your product.
So are you sorting through the offers right now?
I wouldn't say that there was a tsunami of offers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't characterize it that way, but we may still have a presence.
But either way, you're going.
Either way, yes.
You have to.
You have to go. You have to go.
But you're not a big fan of going. I mean, you've been to conventions before.
I have been to. Have you been to?
I have not.
No. Okay. It's not. They're not fun per se in the way that we think of. Fun.
Normal people characterize the word fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's always kind of a gas to be there. It's always, it's crazy and it's exhausting and the atmosphere is. It's terrible and there's no food, but we're all in it together. And there is a kind of, it's really interesting to be there. And there's always lots to do.
Right.
Lots to do.
Well, this was a good year to start a political satire show, wasn't it?
It's as though we were geniuses about it. But who could have ever predicted? We are not the puppet masters of this election season. I wish that we were. But we are benefiting from it tremendously.
Wow.
It's great.
Well, how much?
Hail Satan. I know.
How much do you, as a citizen of our planet, kind of weigh and balance your interest for the Earth versus your selfish interests as a talk show?
I love my show. I want the show to do well. I struggle every day to find the balance. I love the world we live in. I love this country. I do love my show. So depending on the day, I would say normally I think about the country more than I do our show. I'm not saying that wouldn't change.
But if it gets,
you know what? It's fluid.
If it's a shortage of material, you're going into the weekend, you're praying for.
There's never going to be.
There's never going to. That's the thing.
I have a very strong suspicion. There's never really going to be a shortage, and we only do a show once a week, so there's a lot of happenings in the world that we can talk about in our little slice of time.
So there's really no need for you. You're not secretly donating to the Trump campaign or the Cruz campaign to
I'll
have kept
never
them
tell.
Going. Yes. Mm-hmm. I wonder what you would get though if you, like, say you get the sponsorship of the convention.
And by the way,
Trump
I mean,
have to patronize you in some way, or?
Well, he has patronizing, that's for sure. I think that you don't get too much I'm not sure what you get for your money.
It's a lot of money.
There are some perks. I do think that you have access to some hotel rooms, which we might not have access to.
Okay.
We are going out there with such little note. I mean, we just launched the show, so you have to plan these things. You know, these things get planned years in advance. So we're kind of going there. It's going to be like in the Mystery Machine, basically. We're all going to drive in one Subaru Forester together from New York. We're bringing a tent. We might end up living in a Walmart parking lot. We don't really know the conditions that we're facing. So I do think that if we were able to sponsor, we would have access to at least a bed. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's a clean bed. There could be blood spatter on the walls. I don't know the quality. I can't speak to the quality of the hotel rooms. And all of this is to say, I hope that the RNC is not fearful of letting us sponsor their. We are merely observers, delighting in the process of democracy. We just want to be a part of it.
Right.
I just need my big face up there. Oh, please. Oh, please. We're begging TBS to let us do that.
You mentioned, no shortage of material. You're not fearful of running out. You're on once a week. We have so many questions from people begging, pleading.
And by the way,
we need you on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
What is it going to take? Kathy Cronin asked that. Tom Dawson.
No.
The names on Twitter. They want more.
Nice. I'm better in small doses.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think? I mean, it's nice to leave people wanting more.
People wanting more. It's the first rule of comedy.
Yeah.
Right? But
I'm happy with that.
But also, just for you as a human being.
As a human being, I enjoy life. I like to live my life. I mean, we work really hard, and I can't say that my life it's not very leisurely, and we only do a show. It's not at all leisurely. We only do a show once a week. So
you don't really want to know 4 times that.
I don't know that we're willing to give over on that level. I think we like our tidy spot. I think we like our little niche.
Yeah. One thing I was wondering, you hail from Toronto.
I do.
The left is always saying, if so and so is elected, I'm going to move to Canada.
Canada doesn't
what
want
should these people
Canada doesn't want all these people. It's harder to immigrate to Canada than anybody thinks. Canada is a very choosy nation. We don't just open our doors to disgruntled American expats. There's a process. I'm just saying there's a process. I know some people. I know some places you could rent. You could try it out for a little while. Flirt with it first.
Okay. Is there anything people should know about your native country? All these, I'm going to move to Canada.
Oh, well, you know what? I should do some kind of, is there anything they should know? It's a delightful place to live and work. We have our healthcare system. It's not as rosy a picture as you might think. But you do, I don't know. I don't know that you would like it. You might find it too spread out and pastoral, even in the big cities.
It's interesting, I never hear any conservatives saying, if Hillary Clinton is elected, I'm going to move to Canada. Why is it only...
They hate Canada much more than they hate Hillary Clinton. There's no way. There's no way. That just wouldn't make sense for them.
So it just doesn't...
That just wouldn't even...
work on the inverse.
Not at all.
Okay. There was an article written earlier, a couple of months ago, late night shows don't change policy. But yours actually has, hasn't it?
Well,
in a way, right?
After our rape
toot your
kit,
horn here.
I'm still not going to toot. It was so good, and we love that changed after our piece aired. But there were people working diligently behind the scenes.
Probably give a little background.
Yes, we did a segment on rape kits actually, and there was and it caused. Well, I'm sorry. I just got off a plane. I'm so tired right now. Oh my God.
This should have coffee in it instead of water.
I need coffee. Yeah, and so a policy was changed after our segment aired, but it wasn't that people, it wasn't like we did it. We just brought attention to it. We brought an issue to light, and then something changed shortly after our piece aired. But
Right,
we don't.
you're not writing policy, but still, you put the spotlight on it.
We shone a light on something that we thought was very important. So we don't claim that victory, but we celebrate that victory. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I love the piece you did on the segment you did on the Seattle Council, City Council. Seattle C Words, the 5 women who voted against a new arena being built because they didn't think it was in the city's self-interest.
They took some abuse for that.
Sports before sports. I mean, they had their, a good sound, like fiscal reason. But the online hate was, and you don't read, you've made a point of saying you don't read online comments.
I don't. I drop into it from time to time just to take the temperature, and then I usually flee from it as soon as humanly possible because it's overwhelming. There's a lot of positivity, but when I tend to focus on the negativity, so I stay out of it. But
this was kind of a good way to shine a light on that culture too.
I'm so happy to shine a light on internet abuse. It's something, it happens to it happens to me every day. So when I drop into it, I see it, and I like to. It was a good one. That was very satisfying.
I'm surprised you guys haven't gone on the Ghostbusters issue, the female Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, I think we did a little social media about it. I'm sure when the movie,
that'd be a good segment.
Actually, that's good. That would be good.
just a suggestion.
Thank you.
Like you say, you don't.
I'm putting it in the suggestion
Your time here
box.
has not been a complete. Is doing this show for you? The thing that really impressed me is that you came out of the gate. Your voice was strong and it was really from the get-go.
Thank you.
And I would guess that's a lot of years working on The Daily Show, cultivating your point of view and who you have to say it, what you have to say. Is doing this show cathartic for you?
It's incredibly cathartic. It's so exciting to be able to do a really juicy episode of the exact show that you want to do once a week. I think we all experience catharsis at the show. We did think when we were creating the show that we really wanted it to come from a very deep place in our gut. That was the thing that we cared most about, was just listening to our own voices and making sure they were as strong as possible. Because we figured really we only have one shot at it, so we might as well just really go for the gusto. And I think
didn't even know you had 13 episode order. Were you?
We didn't. That can change. You can get a 13 episode order and have that shaved down pretty quickly. So we knew we had at least a few episodes to come out and be true to our own voice, and then it just felt so instantly natural to us. I did so much kind of press before we actually launched the show, and it was a little bit diffuse because before you actually do the show, it's hard to even know. It's not like we knew exactly what we had until we actually did a show. We just needed to do a show, and then I knew that we could do as many shows as we would want to do.
Right.
We wanted to just kind of kick the door down with our first show and continue to do that with all of our episodes. It's such a great feeling. I can't even, to be doing the show that we feel so passionately and so great about, and we really have such a great workplace, and the people who work there are so fantastic and dedicated. It's such a deep pleasure to go to work every day and just do this thing that is so satisfying and not really care too much what anybody says or thinks about it. It's so liberating.
Yeah.
It's so liberating. I can't even. I'm so grateful. We
had a question from one reader on Twitter, Jennifer Lerner, asking if you've gotten to do some things on Full Frontal that you weren't able to do on The Daily Show, cover some topics.
Oh, sure. I think that it's a completely different type of experience. It's a completely different experience because, my experience at the Daily Show was incredible. I mean, it was 12 years of working with John, and he was wonderful, and we learned so much. But you know, the whole show was filtered through his point of view. It's all filtered through his editorial perspective, and with Full Frontal, I mean, that's lifted. Now, we don't even, in a weird way, I know we've only done 13 episodes, but we don't even really think about those days, if that makes any sense. We're just so doing our own thing and expressing our point of view so in such a pure way that, anyway, I hope that doesn't really answer the question, but we get everything.
Yeah,
I don't think there's, I think there are so many things. I think there are so many things that we've done on Full Frontal already in only 13 episodes that we would never have done on The Daily Show. It was a different type of show.
Right.
The things that we wouldn't have done, things that we couldn't have done, things we couldn't have said, and a point of view that is just so purely ours.
Mm-hmm. And I guess it's important to say, since we're talking 13 episodes, that the show has been renewed through the end of the year, right?
And we're so happy. We're so happy we get to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I get to keep this, right? Guys, I got a mug. I got a mug.
Yes.
I'm a mug collector, among my many fun attributes.
The Full Frontal Twitter account was chipping in some questions too. There was some good ones there.
We do this thing. We do on social. We do a thing called real or fake internet comments. So it was. We thought maybe we would just flood the LA Times handle and see what happened. So
there were some good ones. I
there?
just. Why do you stand?
Why do you stand?
They don't give a woman a desk?
Why do you stand? We couldn't afford, we didn't have the budget for a desk. That's what my mom said. My mom watched the first episode and she was like, well, couldn't afford a desk, huh? Didn't have the budget for a desk. Okay, well, things will get better.
Did you get some of your sense of humor from your mom?
She was not kidding, but
No.
yes.
I read a quote from you, just growing up, that you were a really quiet and shy child. Is that true?
That is true. I think that actually, I know, you can't tell, but it actually remains true to this day. I mean, I think that's a very natural place for a lot of comedians to come
Sure.
from. Yeah.
But something had to have kind of brought you out of that shyness. Was it getting up and performing and doing?
Yeah, I think, I wouldn't say, I think, the shy person is still here. I'm so bad at parties. I'm terrible at mingling, all of those things. I mean, sometimes I really do get social anxiety at parties. Like, I just can't. Sometimes I hide in the bathroom by myself. It's just crazy. So I don't tend to go to events where lots and lots of people congregate and things like that. So that person is entirely still there. But I think starting to do comedy actually in my late 20s did bring me out of that to some extent, because if you're going to do comedy, you have to relate to people. You have to standing on a stage is so different from interacting with people at a party. It doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't make any sense at all.
I guess I was asking because the desk is sort of a protective thing. When you're up there on the stage and you come up on that stage at the start of the show, it's just you and you're driving the energy and you're...
I'm actually very grateful. I mean, I think that when we were conceiving the show, we definitely knew that we just couldn't have it. It just couldn't look like every other late night show. We just knew that we could not have like a giant obelisk for me to stand behind. It just wasn't physically possible. But I was very fearful of that. I mean, I wasn't excited not to have a desk. I knew that I couldn't, and I knew that I wouldn't, but I didn't know what that would feel like exactly until we actually started doing the show. At which point I immediately realized that it was such a great decision, and thank God we don't have a desk, because really, to give me something to hide behind is the worst idea humanly possible. And I just pull faces all the time. My face does that. My face does things I'm not aware of. And I think if I was behind something, I would be doing crazy things with my face and my arms and trying to burst out from behind the desk, just energetically, and it would look awful and be impossible. So thank goodness we didn't do it. It worked out, thank God.
The Full Frontal account also asked, do you have to swear so much?
Do you have to swear so much, for God's sake?
Imagine you have 3 kids.
I do.
Do they watch the show? Or
They do not watch the show. They don't care for it. They don't care for me. They don't.
Well, they're your kids.
They're your kids. They're not supposed to find you cool or funny. That goes against the natural order of things. So them seeing me do the show is disturbs the natural order for them. They don't like it. It feels strange. I mean, I'm the lady who picks up their socks off the floor and makes them breakfast every day. So they don't think the show's funny. They don't get it. I swear, they think it's disgusting. So they accidentally watched the first episode, and that's how they know, but they've never watched a single episode since.
They accidentally watched.
Well, my mother-in-law was in town, and she turned the volume way up. I said to her, when we did the first show, I was like, now Bev, they can watch it, but just turn the volume down, because I'm saying all this crazy stuff. And she was like, got it, volume to the maximum. So when I came back in to see them, and I was like, hey guys, what did you think? And they were
very disappointed.
And then my daughter, who's 10, said, you told a joke and nobody laughed. So they were very critical of their show.
And that was so embarrassing.
That was horrible, watching you up there acting like a fool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't know you that way at all. It's disgusting.
So when, after the show, like last night, you washed the mime makeup off before coming home.
I did. Yes, I definitely, they were disturbed by that. They were disturbed by that. They did not like, I have photos on my phone though. I took some pictures. Don't like that.
We had another reader, KK.
Is it a real one, or is it a fake
just 2 Ks?
Okay, just 2 Ks. All right, because you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
But, I mean, she had a good question.
Okay.
What considerations do you make, if any, about how a segment might impact a candidate or a race? I mean, does like last night you did a thing on the Nevada caucuses.
We don't make any, I don't think that we really make a call that way. We do the segment that we want to do, and we put it out in the world, and we do something if we're really passionate and we're really driven to tell a story in a certain way, we do that thing. If you think too much about what the result of that is going to be, it's comedically paralyzing. It paralyzes the story.
Right.
It just ties your hands. You can't function. I think creating comedy or creating art or content by committee is just the worst possible thing, and we're very fortunate that we don't have to do that. So we don't care.
You don't.
The answer is we
right.
don't care.
You don't think about the tremendous power that
we
you
do.
have.
The immense power of our TBS half-hour show.
Well, the Bernie people were not too happy with it.
They're never happy. You can't please them. I mean, guys, lighten up. We created a website called totallyobjectivepoliticalfacts.org that is intended to quell, I hope I got it right because my brain is a little fried, to quell the tension between, there's so much liberal on liberal, Democrat on Democrat infighting now. So to quell those arguments, because it really has ruined, well, as we stated in the show, it really has ruined the internet. So we have provided this website that you can just post a link to if your friends are getting too heated, which we know that the Bernie people do get. It's getting a little hot out there,
yeah.
Getting a little angry.
Yeah.
I know.
So next week you won't be on. We should probably say that, right? That will you be on?
Next week is Memorial Day.
Yeah, so you're not.
So
but people tuning in like last night, we should just put that out there right
This
now.
is so crazy. We had a glitch yesterday.
Yes.
We don't have a show on Monday.
But you will be back the following Monday.
Of course. Yes, hot and heavy. Going into June, hot.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in today.
I was so excited to
great.
come in today. I'm sorry I was a little incoherent, but I hope it was. I hope it worked on some
Perfect,
level.
perfect.
Okay, good.
And for more of these conversations, please go to latimes.com. Thanks
Please.
for watching.
Thank you.